You're listening to my dad. What do I say?
On Ask Dr. Jake.
On Ask Dr. Jake.
Thank you, Dietrich. I am Dr. Jake Tucker. I'm the owner of Good Life Family Chiropractic and proud to be Dietrich's dad. Say hi again, Dietrich.
Hi.
So we're going to talk to you again today, bringing you another message of health, hope, and wholeness, as we do every weekday morning at 9:30 a.m. here on KCRO Radio. And what I wanted to talk to you about today is just some of the amazing patient experiences that we've had. I've been going back through some old files. We just celebrated 4 years being open here on the south side of Lincoln. And it's just been an incredible time of taking some of the best people in the world from a place of sickness and suffering to health, hope, and wholeness. And I actually had a patient last week who was talking to not just me, but I had a young doctor in my office, someone who's just about to graduate school and wants to work for me. And he's kind of evaluating the place and just seeing that whether or not this is a good fit for him. And he was talking to her, and she was telling him about how many different chiropractors that she'd been to and how she'd always valued chiropractic. But it wasn't until she found me and found my office that she truly realized the power of what we do and fully experienced that healing in her life. Yeah, my Chris is his name. He goes to Palmer in Iowa. And he was looking at her x-rays because he's learning a lot about x-rays and what they should look like and shouldn't look like. And he commented on how good her x-rays looked. And she was a little bit shocked by that because we've been working so hard to improve her x-rays. He's just not used to seeing normal x-rays. In fact, most of us aren't. We see so many patients with such bad spines, and she had a bad spine coming in. Her biggest problem is that she can't stop getting into car accidents. Now, granted, none of them are her fault, but when you get in that many car accidents, it's going to give you some whiplash type trauma. And the damage over the years had really given her some degenerative arthritis in the middle of her neck. Now, before she came to my office, that also coincided with a reverse curve in her neck. And if you're watching on Facebook right now, and you can tune into our shows on facebook.com/Ask Dr. Jake, and we have the live stream going for you to be able to consume at any time you want, be able to share that with friends and family as well. But you can see on the video a side view of the spine. And when you're looking at the neck, those vertebrae should be in a smooth 45-degree curve. That's normal. That's ideal. And when that's out of position, it actually creates neurological damage to the spinal cord and to the nerve roots as they exit out of the spinal cord. And so, for her to be where she was at, even under chiropractic care, was just really devastating to her health. The amount of stress and anxiety that she put herself under was just doubled by being locked into a sympathetic state, being locked in a fight or flight state. But as we were able to help her rebuild the curve in her neck and get that back, her life is just turned around. I mean, 3 years ago when she first met me, you wouldn't even recognize her for the amount of life and joy and light that she's able to bring in, not just to this office, but any room that she walks into. And so, Carolyn, if you're listening, just huge shout out to you. But if you're hearing this and you're just sick and tired of being sick and tired, you've been to other chiropractors and you may think to yourself, well, chiropractic doesn't work. Well, it's because you haven't tried us out yet. We do things differently here. And every person that I've brought in testifies to that same story. We just hired a brand new chiropractic assistant. She's somebody that's been working in chiropractic offices for a couple years now. And when she was doing her job shadow, her jaw was on the floor the whole time with what we were doing and how different it was. She was just used to people coming in, getting cracked, getting popped, getting clicked, and then leaving. And then, never getting re-x-rays, never seeing the progress, being told to come back when it hurts if someone got better. And if it didn't get better, having people referred out and never doing another exam to see exactly why they weren't getting better, or sitting down and asking the questions of what was going on in somebody's life that could keep them from healing. And, she saw our process and she just fell in love with it. She's, actively getting help with her anxiety, not by medication, but by addressing the cause of her anxiety, addressing the cause of the disconnect that's happening between her brain and her gut. And as we're doing that, we're seeing amazing changes in her health just transform her life. Same thing with Chris. He's shadowed dozens of offices now and is just so impressed by our process that he wants to actively take part in what we're doing. And guess what? You don't have to be in my office in order to do that. There's 350 Max Living offices that are doing this across the country. But unfortunately, if you're in the state of Nebraska, we're your home. We are the only office within 3.5 hours of here. In fact, for me to get a Max Living adjustment, I have to drive to Kansas City or Des Moines or even Sioux Falls to get this level of care that we're providing here. And I came here specifically for that reason, because I saw that my friends and my family that grew up here were lacking in being able to get 5 Essentials care. And so if you want 5 Essentials care, if you want jaw-dropping care, then pick up the phone, call our office, 531-289-7100. And we're happy to take you from a state of dysfunction and dis-ease to a state of health and life, vitality, and true health, true ease. That's what we're doing for you today. So for the first 5 callers that call in this morning, that will be a 50% discount off of any services received. That's the exam, that's the consult, that's the digital nerve scan, surface electromyography, the digital nerve testing, and digital x-rays, all for less than $100. If you get adjusted, still less than $100. And you don't even have to worry about your insurance or not, because we're going to keep that affordable for you. And then we will verify for you. We'll see if there's any benefits, how to use this. But most importantly, what we're going to do is we're going to find the cause of whatever it is that's keeping you from healing and functioning. And I was talking with this chiropractor who's actively learning this stuff in school. And we talked about, how just our system is so broken. How we're so focused on symptoms and feeling good, or when we feel good, we just kind of ignore it. I had a patient come in just this morning, and she was talking about how her back had flared up a little bit because of the way that she shifted and worked on her job. And, I said, it's amazing how we just kind of forget how much better we're doing until it goes the other way, until we start to regress a little bit. And she said, yeah, I know, it's so much easier to track when we're doing bad than when we're doing good. And that's the level of correction that we get here, is people actually notice when they're doing better. Typically, sometimes they forget, it's easier to notice the headache than it is to notice the lack thereof. But we see people reversing headaches, reversing back pain, taking ligament damage and degenerative joint disease and degenerative disc disease, and reversing it through the laws and principles of health and healing. When you have a degenerative joint, what is the law that governs that? It's called Wolff's Law. Wolff's Law states that any joint that's out of alignment will start to degenerate, and it does so at about a rate of 7% per year. But if you realign that joint and you start to give it the nutrients that it needs, and you reduce the inflammation, you restore the biomechanics of that joint, guess what happens? Just like any other cell, tissue, or organ in your body, it starts to heal. Let's take Crohn's disease. Let's say somebody has a food allergy, or they're getting too much pesticide consumption just based off of a standard American diet. Let's irritate that gut lining over and over and over again, like we've had so many patients do. And then let's start to remove some of that interference, remove some of those toxins. Let's remove the nerve interference from sitting all day, and watch as healing happens. Watch as that Crohn's disease starts to reverse, the gut lining restore itself, and food sensitivities and food allergies start to die down, to the point where I had someone come in just today that is dealing with celiac, had some gluten exposure, and wasn't bedridden, wasn't stuck to the toilet for the rest of the day, because we addressed the cause. And so if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, pick up the phone, call our office, 531-289-7100. We're standing by to take your call, answer any questions that you have, and set up that visit. If you miss us because it goes to voicemail, leave a voicemail. We'll get back with you. 531-289-7100. We'll set that up. First 5 callers, remember, get a 50% discount off of exam and x-rays. And really, the reason we get such amazing results aren't because we have the miracle cure here. We don't cure anything. We don't treat anything. All we do is we address cause. We address cause. We find the cause, we fix it, and then we leave it alone, because what your body's designed to do is heal. And when you tap into that, you can heal. I see that each and every day, patients getting better. And it puts me in awe that God would choose someone like me. Yeah, little old me who failed as an engineer, who failed as a pastor, who failed at virtually everything in his life, accumulated, hundreds of thousands of dollars of student loan debt in the process. And he chose me to be a doctor that gets to intervene in people's life and health and vitality and really see transformation and then give glory back to him. And that's the thing that I love to do the most is, that I'm not the healer. You're not the healer. Creation doesn't heal. It's the creator that does the healing. And so that's what we're going to do here is we're going to not only tap into that, but we're going to give him the credit every single time he does it. Praise God. So if you're ready, pick up the phone, call my office, 531-289-7100, and make sure you're tuning in every weekday. We're here at 9:30 a.m. on KCRO 106.7 FM here in Lincoln, and then 660 a.m. out of Omaha. And then you can also find all of our previous shows via podcast, wherever podcasts are found. You can just look for Ask Dr. Jake on the Apple Store, on the Google Store. You can go to Stitcher. You can go to Spotify. We're wherever you get your podcast. Just look for those. And then while you're there, go ahead and leave us a review. Your review helps to share this message with others. They get to see exactly what we're doing. You can watch us on Facebook and tag your friends in it. If you're a Facebook person, we also post these on our YouTube page. You can just search for me, Dr. Jake Tucker, and you can see all the videos and then some. I put most of my classes that we teach here in the office up on YouTube, so you can participate just as well as any other patient would. So do jump in, participate with us, join the movement here, the Max Living movement. There's hundreds of thousands of patients across the country that are part of this Max Living movement that are trying to revolutionize healthcare so that we're not scared anymore, so that we can actively grow this vitalistic movement that gives credit to God for health and doesn't point to chance, doesn't point to bad design, doesn't point to blaming our parents for the diseases that we're going through, but takes personal responsibility and accountability in addressing cause and getting ourselves healthy. And that's what we do at Max Living. So I've been Dr. Jake. Thank you for joining me again. We'll see you tomorrow for another episode of Ask Dr. Jake.